Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
Welcome back to I Want That Too, the podcast where Disney merch meets Disney history. I'm entertainment writer Jim Hill, and as always, I'm joined by the lovely Lauren Hersey, who, I'm not going to lie to you folks, looks a little stressed tonight. Lauren, what's going on?
Well, Jim, I've been racking my brain about a outfit to wear to a themed gala that is happening at my children's school. And my little one, Miles. Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, it's a very Disney, like, friendly school. Like, every year for this gala, they do a big, like, raffle where they give away, like, a week at Disney World. It's great. Mm-hmm. And the thing about it that I personally dread, I'm sorry if, like, you're into this kind of thing, is it is a dress-up gala. Mm-hmm. So this year's theme is Alice in Wonderland. And I've been racking my brain on what to dress up as, that where I can maybe like bound a little bit, but I don't have to like wear a full-blown costume. And everything I suggest, Eric is like, oh, that's going to be overdone. That's going to be overdone. I was like, well, I could be the Queen of Hearts and you could be a car. So I want to run by you the idea that we came up with and see if, like, to get your feeling, to test the water before we actually go full force and rock this next week.
Okay. So are you and Eric going as a bonded pair? And if so, what sort of costumes are we talking here?
Okay. So Eric also does not love to dress up. So I needed him to be something adjacent to me. So I made this up. Actually, it was Lainey. She had the idea. So you know, in the beginning of Alice in Wonderland, when beginning-ish, when she's in the garden and we come across the butterbread flies or and the singing flowers. I know you're familiar. So my idea, ladies, is to be the red rose, who is kind of the conductor of the flowers when they're singing. And so I got this, headband with a big red rose and a stem green dress. And I got Eric a matching green floral shirt. And I figure that we will be the only singing flower duo at said event. What do you think?
There's another way you could possibly go with Eric. What if you literally, his outfit is an apron with red paint splattered on it, and you give him a bucket of red paint and a brush, and he's the one who's painting the rose red?
Oh, that's very clever, I must say.
Okay.
See, like, that was, like, that is what I needed about a week ago when I was getting down to the wire and ordering something on Amazon. So we want to be a little extra, a little bit creative, but outside of there's so many iterations of Alice in Wonderland now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm wondering, like, what types of costumes we're actually going to see at this event. And, like, any idea why this year they would have picked Alice in Wonderland?
Well, let's be honest here. Even when we're talking Disney, it's not just one version of Alice. Back in 2010, we had the Tim Burton version of Alice with Johnny Depp playing the Mad Hatter. And just last year, we had our Descendants, The Rise of Red, which has its own very, very interesting take on the Red Queen. So, I mean, that's the thing. If you're doing a Disney themed Alice in Wonderland thing, it's like, which of these three would you like me to pick from?
Oh, don't forget. Do you remember that show Once Upon a Time? It was on ABC, and they got a spinoff of Wonderland, right? So that's another iteration.
And if we're further muddying the water here, there was the Disney Channel show, Adventures in Wonderland? That was the one where the White Rabbit was on roller skates. But yeah, you have it's quite the Wonderland themed buffet you can pick off of if you want.
Okay, so I will have to keep you posted as to like the showing, because I figure we're gonna see a lot of, like, obviously Alice the White Rabbit, Mad Hatter, like maybe some Tweedledee Tweedledum action.
Oh, absolutely.
But I was like, how can I get Eric to be the cranky, like, blue caterpillar that's like, who are you? He was not down with painting his face blue.
No, I get that. Now, mind you, given that people in Nancy's class, water aerobics class, literally, when I'm in the class and I'm toward the back, one of her ladies said, "You look very walrus-like." So,
what is the walrus's name? Does it have a name?
Well, no, he's just the walrus, but it's the walrus and the carpenter who are there on the beach and trick all the clams into being lunch.
We could have
oysters,
been baby
oysters.
clam.
Yeah.
We could have been baby oysters.
There we go. There
was like the old lady. Like, I like that kind of stuff. But anywho, so I will keep you posted on how that goes, and maybe we will go with the painting the roses red. That's very cute.
Okay.
All right. So before we get into the news of the day and part 2 of your Disney Bear feature, why don't we thank our sponsor?
Absolutely. The nice folks at World at DVC. Are you planning a Disney trip? If so, it can sometimes be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Be Our Guest Vacations takes care of all of the details, park reservations, dining, and more, so you just focus on the fun. And they're expert travel planners. They offer personalized service at no extra cost to you. So whether it's a Disney cruise, a trip to the park, or another magical destination, they'll handle everything. So visit beourguestvacations.com to start planning your next adventure today. So, okay, now to the news, and we were just talking about you potentially being a singing flower and Eric being the one who paints the roses red. So it's appropriate that we're now starting off by discussing the 30th annual Flower and Garden at Epcot.
Yes, and I was just telling you before we hopped on here that, like, for the first time in I don't know, my recent memory, we're going down to Orlando the week leading up to Easter, and there's not really like a must-do thing that we're trying to accomplish while we're down there, because I told you last episode I missed the boat on the Imagineering. Again, if you need a friend, please reach out.
There we go.
So, but of course, we're going to check out the Flower and Garden Festival at Epcot. Epcot is a personal fave, and even if there's nothing new or specific that I'm looking to accomplish while there, eating around the world and riding Guardians 15 times will, be plenty for me. And did you know that this is the 30th anniversary of this festival? Like, that is mind-blowing to me.
I want to say, Len and I have talked about the various seasonal events at Disney. What's interesting is that it's worth digging into the Sentinel's archive because they have a story from the early days of Flower and Garden where they're reporters in the park at like 5 a.m. chasing the crews that are doing things like replanting the annuals because, again, it's Florida, it's hot, things wilt. And just the notion, this omnipresent voice of 30 minutes till gate open. And people frantically scurrying to get their flats of plants on to their trays and roll them backstage. But yeah, it's for me, what's been interesting is watching how, as the years go on, this has gotten so much more elaborate. And in fact, you've got some amazing research here about the topiaries that, are, of course, a big feature for Flower and Garden.
Yeah, last year, I believe the big, feature of the topiaries was the Encanto family.
The Madrigal family, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So right when you would go into the park. So if they're going to call this, a big anniversary celebration, which we're going to talk about the merch here in a minute, they needed to go bigger and better than before. So the Imagineers this year have incorporated in things like hand-sculpted clay, 3D printing, special effects. So you're going to see a leveled up experience if you're in the parks. And if you've been there, because this does go now until June 2nd. And if you've seen these, give us your thoughts, please. So we've got Belle's face, which is sculpted clay this year. So that is actually not floral, but she looks beautiful. To me, she looks very similar to years past. We've got Tiana's topiary this year, and this one is the first to use 3D printing to get even more specific in the design. I don't know how I feel about the 3D printing, Jim, just because isn't that the whole purpose of it being made of flowers and, bushes and things that go right from the ground?
Well, this is true, but what's been interesting over the years is to watch, for example, when they've done face characters like Belle. The hard reality is that's tough to do with moss. But on the other hand, if you do the face as clay, and that's a natural material, so that kind of fits in with Flower and Garden. But also you can then do the hair and the gown itself that the Disney princess is wearing as a floral element. So it's still in the same wheelhouse as Flower and Garden. But let's be honest here. 3D printing is a tool in the design space now. So it's hard to handcuff the Imagineers or the folks who work in horticulture at Disney that say, no, you can't use this. It would be cool. It would be nice. It would look great, but you can't use it.
But they're doing it regardless of what I think. So
there we go.
We've got, Moana 2 out. And so that's the big focus this year. Maui's ginormous fish hook is the largest 3D printed element ever used in an Epcot topiary. And, we've got some additional special effects, like I mentioned. So glowing ore, the giant fish hook, swinging pendulums, that type of thing. So I'll be anxious to see that. But as far as going back to Eisner and giving people a reason to visit the parks more, or, more regularly for that matter, I don't know that I don't know if people are going for the topiaries or are they going for the whole festival, to eat the food, to see the topiaries, the big thing that we like to do is go to the concert series.
Oh, no doubt. And by the way, though, I don't know if you saw just this past weekend, there was a fire backstage at Epcot.
No, I missed that.
Okay, evidently, and the irony is, what caught fire was a walk-in freezer. All right, but this walk-in freezer was behind the France Pavilion, and what was so funny is earlier today, somebody this happened on Saturday. We're recording this on Sunday, folks. But the interesting thing is, Peter Noon is on stage performing as part of the concert series for Flower and Garden. And in the middle of his concert, you've got a lovely daughter. Is that on fire over there? What's going on? So somebody actually captured that moment in the show where Peter's a little concerned about the smoke that is suddenly drifting in his direction while he's on stage. So
no, I totally missed that. But I am looking forward. So while we're down there, and I will say we have come a long way for the concert series from COVID. Do you remember when the Jammers were the headlining act?
Yeah.
Or Eat to the Beat or Garden Groove or whatever they call it. Do you remember? We had the mariachi band on the main stage.
Well, what's so funny you say that? I was we were doing a story for Fine Tuning about Snow White, and as part of it, I was looking actually back at the MGM ads that were done back in '89. But in the process, I came across this ad from the middle of the pandemic, and it was actually for, I forget which car the Volt, the electric car, but were doing a thing of these families that were driving down to Walt Disney World, and they're out in the country, and one finds themselves driving toward the park with an X-wing from Star Wars alongside of them, and another car sees Dumbos flying overhead, and another car picks up the hitchhiking ghost from the Haunted Mansion. But when one of the families actually gets in the park, suddenly they're in the Magic Kingdom and they're all wearing masks. And it's like, oh yeah, we used to do that. And the weird thing is, it's only 2025, but for me, COVID and the whole mask thing just seems so far in the rearview mirror now.
Feels like 100 years ago. Like,
yeah.
It feels like I've lived 15 lives since.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Then.
But I say this because of my lovely daughter, Alice, and my nieces, Mary and Rebecca, kids in their late 20s, early 30s, who still haven't necessarily let go of the mask thing. And not telling tales out of school here, but my daughter finally managed to get COVID late this winter, early this spring. And that was after years of masking up. So, I don't know. I just, when you mentioned the janitors or that sort of thing, they were on stage because no name performer was willing to get on stage in the middle of the pandemic. So, at least now we're here at a place where Peter Noonan is now doing fire reports. So.
I'll take it every day of the week. But we can't talk about the Flower and Garden Festival without talking about the merch. Mm-hmm. I wish I had some really new and exciting, festival merch to report on. There are a couple weird items. I think there are a couple items that kind of tell us where we're at in trends. Mm-hmm. I think the biggest highlight is that, a lot of the merch is Orange Bird focused and Figment like we've seen prior years. Mm-hmm. But they're actually going into the physical orange, like the fruit with the 30-year emblem.
Yeah. And what does it say? Am I brain damaged that I look at this that's orange. That's literally navel orange. And they have the 30 logo on the breast of the Spirit jersey, and then Flower Garden across the back. What's wrong with me, Lauren? I want one of these. On the other hand, I guess one of the reasons I want one of these is during hunting season up here in New Hampshire, you're actually encouraged to wear orange because that way they don't...
So you remain safe.
There we go.
Citrusy.
And that's the thing. I feel like I like that for some reason. It
actually caught my eye too. And I don't recall seeing a bright orange solid.
Yeah.
This in the past. And I like that it's just in orange. There's no reference to Disney or anything on the front.
No. It's weird. I'm looking at this thing and I feel healthier just looking at it. I don't I don't understand.
Mission accomplished, Disney. Mission accomplished.
I do not understand, but I like that.
Okay. Well, okay. So what gets me excited, because I do love my Disney birds. I love Chubby. I love Orange Bird. I have my collection right above my head. And the universal version, it's not a bird, but I love the Lorax. Mm-hmm. So, maybe there's something with orange little creatures. I don't know. Okay. But Orange Bird is the star of the show. Prior years, you got mini ears, and the Epcot Spaceship Earth is the orange. Just they really went heavy with that last year. Okay. But as far as trends go, I know I put an image in here for you to look at. But right now, those crossbody water bottle holders are it. Did you know that was a thing?
No, I did not. I'm supposed to carry my water bottle across my body? Really? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that it's for you as much as it is for maybe some ladies
got
keeping
it.
up with the trends with the crossbody belt bags.
Okay.
The Lululemons are still a thing you're going to see often. But so when you have that crossbody, it's essentially a fanny pack that you're wearing across your chest. Like, you're not fitting a water bottle in there.
Mm-hmm.
So at Universal, I mean, we buy those little bags, like the disposable like juice bags, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we fold them up and we'll put them in the belt bag. So I'm assuming that's why we're now seeing so many crossbody water bottle holders. So, I mean, trends, like, if people are looking for them, they're clearly going to make them for all the festivals, all the anniversaries, because they're in demand.
Okay. Now, forgive me, can you explain what I'm looking at below the crossbody thing? Because it looks like Figment got run over by a tram.
Oh my gosh. I know this is a podcast, but please look at this merch. So you see Figment, he does look like he was run over by like the monorail or a tram or something. Mm-hmm. So there's a flattened out Figment egg slicer.
Egg slicer! Oh no!
You're like, what is this?
Okay.
But next to flattened Figment is the Orange Bird vegetable peeler. And I'm not going to lie, Jim, I'm probably going to buy both of these.
Okay.
I really, I have a, soft spot, and I saw flattened Figment, and I was like, I don't need a ton of eggs, but, I feel like I could eat more eggs if I was slicing them with flattened Figment.
I'm not going to lie. I mean, they are cute, attractive, and that they're a vegetable slicer, an egg slicer. Geez, I guess I do need to do some shopping at Disney. Get my fluorescent orange Spirit jersey and then go home and slice some vegetables and have some egg slices. So,
I mean, these are new. These are definitely new. And I also included a picture for you of the garden kneeler because we were down at Disney last year for Flower Garden. I think maybe several times, and I did not see a garden kneeler. And I've seen a lot of merch, so you can get your hands on it for $25.
Is that literally what I think it is? As in, it's the thing you put on the ground while you're working in the garden?
Yes.
Wow.
I didn't know that was a thing. To be honest,
either. Oh man, I'm going to be spending some money in Florida.
And it's bright orange. It's making Jim feel great. Feels so good. You want to go, garden.
There we go. And not get shot by deer hunters. Okay. So, the nice thing is I can grow my vegetables and then peel them.
There you go. I mean, Disney has you covered, point A to Z. All right. So switching gear, while we're down in the parks in April, we are going to be missing. Epic is not going to be open yet. Fingers crossed for pass holder previews. But and then a couple weeks later, so we come back on April 20th, I'm going to be actually down staying at Universal Studios with my daughter for a cheer competition. So I feel like I got 2 shots.
Okay.
In a short period of time. But I know this is a Disney Merchant History show. But I mean, Eric, you do host the Epic Universal podcast with Eric, and I feel like we are all about themed entertainment around here. So I thought we could maybe talk a little bit about the new Epic merch. What do you say?
We can definitely do some highlight. I mean, face it, what's interesting for me is the cross-pollination. I mean, for example, if we talk about the Isle of Berk, that's based on the How to Train Your Dragon films, and the 2 gentlemen who directed the original How to Train Your Dragon, Chris Sanders and Dean Dubois, were the same guys who did Lilo and Stitch. So
yeah, lots of cross-pollination.
There we go. And I have to say that I definitely want to get into the Isle of Berk. I look at the people, the way they've got the people costumed there, and it's like, wow, they snuck into a Hill family reunion. These people look very familiar.
The toothless animatronic meet and greet situation, along with the flying dragons, have got me. I mean, I really genuinely think I am more excited about that than like Super Mario World. Like, or Super Nintendo World. Like, don't hate me here, but it looks fantastic.
No, you're not wrong. I mean, and also worth stressing, I want to say they were mentioning that the Isle of Berk, because of the water features and that sort of thing, is twice as large as a lot of lands in the park. Also, you were mentioning the animatronic. I don't know if you've seen any of the images for the light furies that are walking around the park.
Yes.
But our good buddy BioReconstruct has been capturing images, and I was actually asking about these, and he was like, well, do you know the iRobot things, the dog things that police use to send in as bomb squad type things, that evidently the Light Fury is that same robot reskinned, only as a cute little dragon.
Really? Like, are you talking about the baby?
The baby.
Like, the baby. Okay. Because I did see BioReconstruct and the overhead of the baby, like, bouncing around. And I'm like, what are they doing with this? It's fascinating.
Oh, I agree.
And I think I watched a YouTube video on, like, the evolution of the How to Train Your Dragon, like, meet and greet over the years, how it was like a dude, like, on all fours.
Oh, yeah.
to what we're getting now. We've come a long way. But
no, absolutely.
So back to the merch. I feel like I want to mention it because there are 20 new shops coming to Epic Universe, and each one of the lands. So we have Celestial Park, which is the main area, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, which is Ministry of Magic. We know all that. Super Nintendo, How to Train Your Dragon, and Dark Universe. So within those lands, there are 20 shops. And we were just talking about Isle of Berk, and there's like Toothless Treasures that like I thought it was really cool. Did you see the Adopt a Dragon? They're the plush baby dragons, which I'm wondering if it's going to be around the little baby robot, Light Fury robot.
Well, what's so fascinating about this is if you go back to your Monsters, Inc. land concept art that Disney released for the area that they're about to pull down the Muppet Courtyard and create, but they actually had merch that showed guests in the park. It's the same idea. You have a cross-body baby carrier, only it's a baby monster. And it was just sort of like, wow, Universal and Disney are working off of the same playbook.
Yeah.
You're walking around with your baby dragon or your baby monster.
I think this could go gangbusters. I know that they have them in all the Disney theme parks with all the baby main characters, but these are different. So really excited about that. And then, I said, towards the top of the show that there's nothing I was really like a must do for this April trip, but Epic Universe is getting an upgraded wand experience Eric said is at all of the Universal theme parks, and we'll be able to get one while we're down there. Well, is that correct?
This is true. I want to warn you that the price point, or at least the initial price point for these things, is $90. Now, mind you, it's got a haptic feature, which means when you're using the wand and the spell is successful, it actually vibrates in your hand. So it's like you get the sense of, wow, magic just happened. It also has a light feature. So especially if you're using it at night, suddenly your wand lights up as you're performing the spell. And I want to also say that in addition to, I want to say it's 15 or 20 places you can use this wand just in the Ministry of Magic all over at Epic Universe. They have actually gone back into Hogsmeade Village and Diagon Alley, and they've upgraded a lot of the wand features there and put additional ones in. So, I mean...
Oh, thank God. I mean, Jim, they were awful. Like, we spent $75 per kid, and we have 3 kids, on the wands in the summer. And they had this poor, like, older woman just walking around behind the kids saying, like, no, do it to the left. Like, raise it up a little higher. Like, and so a lot of them didn't work at all.
Yeah.
So I was really stoked to hear this, but it sounds like it's coming with a bump in the price point to pay for it.
Yeah, but welcome to 2025. That's what we do.
So would you rather have a upgraded wand experience or a power-up band, the new interactive band that is Super Mario World or Super Nintendo World?
Okay. If I'm being completely honest here, what I would do is, for example, Alice and I in May are going to the FanFest event. And neither, or Alice has yet to be in Super Nintendo World out at Universal Hollywood, and she's a gamer, so I'm going to spring for the bands out there for myself and Alice, so we can have a lovely father-daughter experience before we then go to the whatever they're doing for One Piece. But if I'm going to Florida, I think I would bite the bullet and go for this haptic wand. And the problem again is I'm a 66-year-old man, so it's like, this is lovely to use, and I bring it home, and now the cat is rubbing its chin against it because this is. So what else am I going to do with it? It sits here on the table. So
right, I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like, do I need 3 more wands? Like, or do I just hold out for the power-up bands? Because they're not getting both. Like, they're gonna have to save if they want both.
All right. Well, maybe. The beauty of it is you have 3 children. You can get one a power-up band, one a haptic wand, and lady,
and one a dragon.
There we go. All right. You can cover the waterfront. Everybody gets something so you can speak authoritatively about. And while you're at it, get some of these chocolate dragon eggs, which, by the way, did you see they come with trading cards like the chocolate frogs over at...
Yes.
Boy, they don't miss a trick.
Like, the funniest memory, I can't remember if I ever said it on this show before, but we were in the in Diagon Alley in the candy shop, and I'm going around with my little basket collecting all the things I'm going to purchase, and some guy actually says to Eric, who in the world is buying a $20 chocolate frog as I'm checking out with one? I was like, I'm not coming all the way here and not getting a chocolate frog.
No, that's and that's it exactly. No. And remember, it's not just that it's a chocolate frog. It's the fact that it echoes the look of the packaging from the films. I mean, that's the thing. You're in that world when you step into the Wizarding World. So, of course, you have to go into the 3 broomsticks. And, of course, you have to get a butterbeer.
I have to have it. I had to have it all. And I do think that, isn't it like butterbeer month or something?
Oh, God.
Coming?
Yes, we are. We are in the middle of. We made the type 4 diabetes joke on the previous show, but yeah, I want to say there are 8 different ways you can get butterbeer and put yourself in a glucose coma.
All right. So, but speaking of putting yourself in a glucose coma, I got to talk about the main attraction here that I want to get your opinion on. So, Celestial Park is the main hub. If anybody's been listening to the shows, everybody knows that. We know that we're going to be able to get merch for all the lands there. But something Eric wanted me specifically to share with you is the picture of this bear that you're seeing. And it is a black bear with a star over one of the eyes. Kind of looks maybe like a sailor, an explorer, something like that. And after a quick Google search, it is Captain Cacao, which is the park's adorable chocolate-loving mascot bear.
Well, I'm just going to say flat out, I mean, he's cute, but he's no Duffy.
I know, right? And he kind of looks like he kind of looks like he came from like a thrift shop. He looks like he's had a hard life exploring the universe.
This is true. But on the other hand, now he lives in a chocolate shop. So how bad can it be? All right.
It sounds like he got a sweet life to me. But I'm wondering.
There we go.
I'm wondering if, like, was this just a fluke that someone picked up and shared on social media? Or do you think that Captain Cacao will be a thing?
Well, as we're about to discuss when we get back from the break, how you never know when you bring a bear into a theme park what's going to happen. And I'm just going to say stateside, sometimes things don't take off. On the other hand, if you're in Asia, holy cow. And we'll discuss the particulars in a moment. But first, this.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Walmart. New beauty is in bloom at Walmart, and it's all about springtime radiance. From Drybar, Tula Skincare, and hundreds more available online, Walmart has the premium brands you want and this season's on-trend products for flawless, glossy hair and hydrated skin. Big name beauty brands? Check. The things you love? Check. Find trending spring beauty and all you need to look and feel gorgeous at Walmart, on app and online.
You're the perfect blend of elegance and style, and your ride should be no different. The 2024 Hyundai Sonata Hybrid meets all your needs, from business to brunch and everywhere in between. With head-turning details like a sleek front end, plus stylish interior, and an available 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster and seamless tech integration. Okay, Hyundai. Visit HyundaiUSA.com to learn more about the new 2024 Hyundai Sonata Hybrid.
Okay, and we're back, folks. All right, on last week's edition of I Want That Too, Laura and I were talking about how the stateside parks had struggled with Duffy the Disney bear, and how this plush, not unlike Captain Cacao, Duffy was supposed to be an exclusive at the Once Upon a Time store, which opened at Downtown Disney, now Disney Springs, back in July of 2002. By the way, only place on property you could get the specific teddy bear, which had 4 different Disney hidden Mickeys on it. This company puts a lot of money into on-property promotion. Disney World guests don't seem to care. And so thousands of these things sit unsold in the Once Upon a Time store. And the company is about to remainder the lot, send them all over to the character warehouse at the Orlando Premium Outlets. But a buyer from Tokyo Disney Resort is making a special trip to Florida. And he's looking for something to sell at that theme park in 2004 as part of Tokyo Disney Sea's Harborside Christmas celebration. And he sees this pile of Disney bears and thinks, well, they look cute. So he makes an offer to Walt Disney World Retail, which is so happy to get this non-selling item off of their hands. They'll take them, please, go. But anyway, all right, so we now jump to November 2004, and the Disney Bear hits store shelves at Tokyo Disney Seas, again, part of their Harborside Christmas celebration. Visitors to this theme park love this plush bear. He quickly sells out. And so the folks at Tokyo Disney, they obviously take notice, and they reach out to the retail team at Walt Disney World and said, hey, can you send us the pattern for the Disney bear? Because I think we're going to make a whole bunch more of these. But now it's just sort of like, okay, we know people like these. How do we leverage this? How do we do this and for maximum effort? And so decision is made. We need to give this bear a specific spot to live at Tokyo Disney Seas. More to the point, we need to give the guests a specific spot they need to go to buy this toy. And by the way, Lauren, that turns out to be Aunt Peg's Village store in the Cape Cod themed section of this theme park. Also, the folks at Tokyo Disney decide Disney Bear, too generic, needs to be specific. He needs a name. And so what they decided to do is, first of all, they ditched that whole original backstory that Disney came up with for the Disney bear. The thing about how...
The sticky sweet and the...
Oh, yeah, well, Tinkerbell coming down before the fireworks and bringing Mickey's teddy bear to life one day in the Magic Kingdom. And they invented an entirely different story for this character that actually keys off of the Cape Cod setting. So Sailor Mickey. All right, and that's the version of this, the walk-around version of this character that makes appearances over in the Cape Cod section of this park. He's a sailor. He goes off on long sea voyages. And his girlfriend, Minnie, well, she wants Mickey to have something to remind him of her when he's out at sea. So Minnie, by hand, mind you, makes Mickey a teddy bear. And then she hides it in his duffel bag, which Mickey then carries on the vessel that he takes when he goes out to sea. All right, so Mickey's offshore. He opens his duffel bag and he finds this teddy bear that Minnie made for him in the bag. And she also notices around the bear's neck is a teeny tiny bottle that has a message inside of it from Minnie. And he opens it and it says, "Dear Mickey, this bear is meant to bring you lots of happiness and luck. Love, Minnie." And, of course, Mickey is touched, and when he gets back to shore, he finds Minnie and says, "Yep, the bear, he did what you wanted him to do. He gave me luck. He made me happy. And in honor of the fact that I found him in my duffel bag, I'm going to call him Duffy." But here's the thing, the cherry on the sundae, Lauren. When Duffy, the Disney bear, finally goes on sale at Aunt Peg's Village store in the Cape Cod section of Tokyo Disney Seas, well, guests are given the opportunity to not only buy the Disney bear, but there's also a teeny tiny little sailor outfit. So that Duffy, the next time he goes out with Mickey on the boat, well, he can be properly dressed. And now this was a calculated risk on the part of Tokyo Disney, the sailor suit. But the thinking was, well, look, we have previously, again, at that 2004 Harborside Christmas celebration, we sold a lot of these Disney bears we got from Florida. And the people who bought those might now be looking, well, can I do something different with my Disney bear? It's like, yes, you can dress up as a sailor. And this risk pays off in a big way, Lauren. Tokyo Disney Seas visitors just love the idea of dressing up their Disney bear, which is why Aunt Peg's Village store, which, by the way, sometimes would have a 3-hour-long line.
What?
Of people waiting outside to either get in to buy a bear or an outfit for their bear. When they see this happening, now they do all sorts of seasonal outfits for Duffy. You want him for Christmas. You want him for Easter. Come to Aunt Peg. She'll hook you up. And meanwhile, because there are now so many people standing in line, you think, all right, well, we got to do something to entertain them. All right, well, let's make a Duffy walk around. And so but not anticipating that when Duffy actually appears as a character in the park, people lose their minds. It's like, oh, I got to get my picture taken with the walk around Duffy. And it gets so crazy. They're like, oh, all right, hang on. We need to do a meet and greet space for Duffy. Create a corner somewhere in Cape Cod where people can go and get their picture taken with Duffy. But now the stories are coming from Japan about these 3-hour-long lines, and people have to get their picture with Duffy, and so the folks stateside notice, and well, this is when the story takes an interesting turn, and we'll discuss that after we get back from this break.
This is a message from sponsor Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was getting frustrated by your forms. Now, Taxes is uploading your forms with a snap, and a TurboTax expert will do your taxes for you. One who's backed by the latest tech, which cross-checks millions of data points for absolute accuracy, all of which makes it easy for you to get the most money back, guaranteed. Get an expert now at TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service. See guaranteed details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
Hi, this is Javon, your Blinds.com design consultant.
Oh, wow. A real person.
Yep. I'm here to help with everything from selecting the perfect window treatments to...
Well, I've got a complicated project.
No problem. I can even help schedule a professional measure and install. We can also send you samples fast and free.
I just might have to do more.
Whatever you need.
So the first room we're looking at is for...
Shop Blinds.com now and save up to 45% site-wide. Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Starbucks cards are the perfect way to say, nice work. Give your team the gift of coffee when you order Starbucks cards in bulk directly from Starbucks. Whether it's a digital or physical card, celebrate employees and clients alike with designs for every occasion. Shop now at StarbucksCardB2B.com.
Okay, so again, Duffy, hugely popular in Japan. He's now a meet and greet star, as well as a retail line. And again, this is all in the back of a single toy that didn't sell in Florida. So demand for this stuff gets so great that, in fact, an earlier edition of I Want That Too, you talked about the Cape Cod Cook-Off Theater, where they're going to do this summer, they're going to do the 20th anniversary Duffy special meet and greet package. In that theater, there used to be a show called Donald's Boat Builders, but the demand for Duffy stuff was so great, they fired Donald and they put a Duffy show, the My Friend Duffy show, in the same space, which then tells the story about how the Japanese version of this Disney bear came to life. And again, on Peg Store, selling so much Duffy merch that Tokyo Disney actually has to set a limit on how many Duffy products guests are allowed to buy each day. And the folks stateside are like, what? You mean that thing we've remaindered, that bear from Florida? This is what's causing all this commotion? Oh, well, we got to try this again stateside. Which brings us back to how we started this story on last week's show, where it's fall of 2010, and we have at both California Adventure and Epcot, we have a meet and greet with Duffy, and we have merch, and only for the second time, Lauren, people go to the stateside Disney parks, look at Duffy and go, meh. But meanwhile, back at Tokyo Disney Sea, full steam ahead. January of that same year, 2010, Duffy, just like Mickey, gets a girlfriend. Her name's Shelley May, and she's also a teddy bear. Then, November of 2010, Duffy expands his reach in Asia. This walk-around character begins making appearances at Hong Kong Disneyland, where Duffy merchandise begins selling really, really well. Mind you, 2012, Duffy debuts at Disneyland Paris, where he does okay, not great. Which makes me think maybe it's an Anglo-Saxon thing. All right. Anyway, June of 2014, Shelley May and Duffy, they acquire a new friend, Gelatoni the cat, who's an artist, by the way. 3 years after that, we get the introduction of Stella Lou, the bunny. And God, the people at Japan are so smart. This character gets introduced March of 2017, Lauren, just as Tokyo Disney is beginning its annual Easter celebration. So you launch a bunny during Easter, which only goes to show you that who's ever in charge of the Duffy retail line at Tokyo Disney, no dumb bunny. All right, anyway. Other resorts in Asia, the Greater Pacific area, want their own Duffy-related initiatives. So as a result, Cookie Ann, the dog, is introduced at Hong Kong Disneyland in April of 2018. Olumel, the sea turtle, gets introduced at Aulani in July of 2018. And then Lena Bell, the fox, she's introduced at Shanghai Disneyland in September of 2001. Which, by the way, if you're keeping track at home, that's 7 different characters now in the Duffy line, which, again, have been introduced over the past 20 years. And these things make so much money, Lauren, for Tokyo Disneyland, Hong Kong Disneyland, Shanghai Disneyland, and again at Aulani, which, bringing this full circle here, folks, brings us back to the Celebrate Happy Cavalcade, which is debuting next month, May, at Disneyland Park as part of that resort's 70th anniversary. And again, this time around, the stateside retail team is taking no chances. They're staging these daily cavalcades all summer long and putting Duffy and Shelley May in close proximity to Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, and the gang, with the very clear message they're trying to get across here, Lauren, that these two teddy bears and their friends really are Disney characters. So will you please finally buy some merchandise that features these damn bears? And I just want to put this out here. I have heard from friends in Florida, especially on the retail side, they're going to be paying very close attention to what happens in California this summer. And if Disneyland sees anything approaching an uptick in sales in Duffy merch, do not be surprised if we see a clone of this Celebrate Happy Cavalcade with its one parade float and its two supporting units begin rolling through the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World anytime soon.
Listen, can I give you my theory real quick?
Absolutely.
I think the make your own headbands were so wild and such a big success, and there are so many more Duffy options, right, in Tokyo, that people are trying to get their hands on this, and they are like, okay, because we've talked about how we're getting so much merch now from overseas, Tokyo specific.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, let's give it one more go.
I think you're genuinely onto something there. I mean, it just, especially...
It's the timing.
Oh, no, absolutely. And when you think about, we were talking on earlier, I Want That Too, about how there's this anniversary glut. Cinderella's, 75th, and Disneyland 70th, and we were just talking about the 15th anniversary of Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. And so to cut through the clutter out in California, the notion of, well, let's try Duffy. That's different.
And you like all this other stuff that we're giving you from Tokyo. So
There we go.
We already have. I mean, like, he's been here. He's been like, let's try it again. So that's my theory.
I think you're onto something there. That'll be interesting to see what happens.
We shall see. So stay with us. But I think on that note, I think it's a good time to close up shop for this week.
Okay, but though, before we go, I just want to remind folks again that event at the Coronado in April, the Mickeys of Glendale's, Lauren Hersey, a lovely person, who'd make a great shopping companion, and it's for a D23 member and a guest. Hey, you want a lovely guest? Take the lovely Lauren Hersey. So.
Yes, that would be fantastic. Who knows? I might even buy you a t-shirt.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, so that is happening on April 12th. And now we can close up shop so I could go cry because I missed it. But I think I'll survive.
Okay, well, there we go. All right. And if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening on the Jim Hill Media Podcast Network, make sure that you're following us over on Facebook, Instagram, and X. We post the latest updates and news on our show, so you won't miss a thing. And if you're looking for even more insider Disney content, check out our Patreon community. There's a lot happening over there, like Disney Impact, the show that Len and I do with veteran Imagineer Jim Schul.
Yes, and bonus points. It's ad-free over there. Now Jim's giving us those leaving us on the edge of our seats for our features. But also, while you're at it, make sure if you like what you're hearing to leave us a review. It really does mean a lot to us, and it tells the algorithm to recommend the show. So it means a lot.
Okay, cool. And if you've got questions or suggestions for future episodes of I Want That Too, Laura and I, of course, love to hear from you. And you can reach out to us on social media or email me at jim@jimhillmedia.com. And Lauren, you're at...
I'm at Lauren at laurenhersey.com.
Cool.
And we absolutely live. I was just responding to a listener email before we hopped on tonight, and she was in Europe talking about the overabundance of Disney pet accessories and how that could be tied to our Disney adult conversation. So thank you, Laura, for that lovely message. Keep your eyes peeled, and if you see anything interesting out there in the world, let us know. We love to hear from you. But on that note, thank you for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next time here on I Want That Too.